Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, meteorologist Greg Majewski, your trusted weather source, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype. Here on your tax day, Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. Let's go and see what we're tracking here for today as we got a nice little cold shot once again coming into areas of the Northeast. Even have some snow falling this morning in Michigan. I'll show you the radar on that. Now, we are tracking multiple severe weather days ahead. The good news is I'm not seeing like a major outbreak out there, but we have multiple days, so we'll go and show you the latest from the Storm Prediction Center on that. And we'll also give you an update on the rest of April. We're halfway through the month. Let's see what the rest of the month is looking like weather-wise as far as what above normal temperatures or above normal precipitation. We'll give you an update on that as well. Now, before we get going, first I want to say thank you to any new subscribers out there. Welcome aboard. And if you haven't yet subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner. Hit the notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, if you appreciate this report, leave me a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. It does help a little bit with the YouTube algorithm. All right, let's take a look at the big picture. Our satellite imagery as we've got this storm system here sweeping a cold front here across the south. We're going to see some snows in the Northeast. Got some snows falling this morning up there into parts of Michigan and some clouds down here toward Texas. Pretty good across the high plains. Not bad out here in the west, just a little bit of moisture there across portions of Nevada and into areas of the Four Corners region, but really not looking too bad area in the northwest areas of the United States. Also looking pretty good up near Seattle. All right, as far as the big picture, watches and warnings, we do have some wind advisories here from Pennsylvania down toward areas of the Appalachians into North Carolina. High wind warnings out here toward portions of New Mexico. Watch out for that. A little bit of winter weather here and obviously a little winter weather up here across portions of Michigan. Now looking at the surface map out there right now, again, here's that little cold shot coming in down here. Temperatures here a little bit on the cool side. Got some snows falling up there into Michigan. A little bit of light rain here across portions of Texas and over across portions of Utah and into northern Arizona this morning. We're going to focus in on some of this heavier snow across the parts of Michigan, northern Michigan here, looking pretty good from Traverse City over to Rogers City. Pretty good little burst of snow moving through here. Not going to amount to a whole lot, but this will quickly move on out of here for this morning. Now we're going to be looking at the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. Like I said, we do have multiple days of severe weather we're going to have to track. Now today's not looking bad. We're just looking at a general thunderstorm threat here for today. So I want to take you through the next 6 days. Yeah, believe it or not, we got like days 2 through 6 showing some form of severe weather potential. But for today, just a general thunderstorm threat with that front clearing here across areas of the Northeast, the Four Corners, that little disturbance there, and that little disturbance off the coast may bring in some storms there across California here a little bit later today as well. Let's look at your day 2. Let's check into day 2, and there's that little pocket of marginal severe weather there across portions of Nebraska coming back into portions of Oklahoma. So again, we're talking Kansas City, Omaha, Wichita, those areas there kind of under the gun for maybe an isolated severe weather there for your day 2. Let's look at your day 3. Again, a little bit better chance there. We're looking at a slight risk. Nice little bubble there showing up there across Omaha, Lincoln, and Des Moines. Obviously right into this zone, surrounded by the marginal risk there. That includes Kansas City as well and over toward Rockford, Illinois. So we'll see an isolated chance of some severe weather with that. But again, nothing that's too big a deal so far. Now let's look at your day 4 through 8. We got multiple days ahead. There's your day 4. This is probably the biggest day as far as how many people can be impacted here from Michigan all the way back here toward Texas. Again, looking at that 15% chance of seeing some sort of severe weather on your day 4. That'll still continue to day 5 as well. Kind of elongated right through here. It's not pushing off toward the south. The reason for this is we got a little bit of high pressure ridging here across the southeast. It should protect them for the time being here as we're looking at your day 5 outlook, and then eventually going into your day 6, going into this upcoming weekend. Again, still showing that pocket of severe weather there across portions of Missouri and coming down toward Texas. So again, we got multiple days, at least 5 days that we're tracking some sort of severe weather beginning on Tuesday and going straight into the weekend. So it is that time of year, and we'll be watching it very closely day by day and look for those changes for you here throughout the week. Now, as far as the excessive rainfall amounts, only got a couple days here as far as the short term is. Today's not looking bad. We got a couple of pockets here for your day 2 out here in California. You notice that marginal risk right in through here, getting portions of Nevada, maybe some localized flooding into there. And going into your day 3, we'll take it in a little bit further inland across basically Utah here with some localized flooding possible. But again, we're talking about a marginal risk. Now, as far as our hazards outlook for the next 3 to 7 days, obviously we got to watch for that severe weather risk going through here, as well as some flooding. That's what that green is in there. So we got some heavier rains through there to watch. A little bit breezy conditions out here across portions of Colorado and into areas of New Mexico that needs to be watched. And then we'll have to watch, again, some of the frost and freeze up in here, obviously, with the cold weather that's moving in for right now. That's what that purple is, frost and freeze. All right, so we're going to go into the model data. We're going to look at the 300 millibar level. That's our jet stream. That's what drives our weather across the country. And we're kind of looking at where the ridges and the valleys kind of like looking for. So what we'll be focusing in on for this week is you have this energy off the west coast. It's going to slowly swing on in here. And as it does so, it's going to be setting up these little disturbances that are going to ride off into the plains here. So little pieces of energy are going to break off and kind of come into here. And as we go in toward this upcoming Friday, obviously, we'll be watching that zone right there as this energy pulls out of the southwest. So again, that's what we're looking at for, when you look at the jet stream. You're looking for those little valleys and what kind of sets off that severe weather. So you got the little energy here swinging up even into next week, going until the 21st. You see it kind of swinging there across portions of Kansas. But the jet stream doesn't look overly strong. In other words, you normally have an enhanced jet stream there, a real big, strong trough or ridge in here that would fire up like a major outbreak. Not seeing that. Now, as we go further out, and again, anything beyond 7 days, we're just kind of looking at model trends here. We have another low that pulls out of here, and it pulls out in the plains heading out toward the 27th. So we'll have to watch this closely right through here as we go through the 26th and 27th of April. This pushes on off, and then we got a pretty decent trough here setting up here as we head toward the 29th. So obviously that would bring in some cool air across the middle portion of the country. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the short term. We're looking at the high resolution model data. We're going to be looking at the next 40 hours here. Again, we're going to be watching snows here across areas northeast as this frontal system kind of moves on out of here. So again, watch that timestamp there in the upper right-hand corner as it comes on through. And yeah, we're looking at the snows once again. Should amount to a whole lot, but continuing to snows in the middle of April. I know the folks up there are a little tired of it, ready to get on to spring. And I think this might be one of our last snow events. Hopefully it'll be one of our last. We have a little disturbance here riding across portions of Montana, bringing some snows. Now, the next couple weeks, and I'll show you the snow totals here in a second, out west look pretty impressive. So anybody want to do some late season skiing out west, it's looking pretty promising. I'll tell you that. I'll show you that here in a second. But that's what we got here for the next 40 hours. Not bad. We just got that disturbance here across the east coast starts to clear on out, and then we got this disturbance here dropping in out of Canada and across areas of Montana to watch. All right. Let's go beyond that. We're going to look at the European model here, and we're going to watch those little disturbances kind of kick on out here across the country. That's going to be setting off that the weather on the days ahead. So again, as we go ahead, it looks like this Saturday really, you see it kind of elongated here as that low kind of kicks on out going into this upcoming weekend. We'll see how really good. Again, these chances, these little disturbances are not very high. Like this is Thursday. Obviously, you had that little pocket right through there. So again, they're not a super outbreak, but every day has got to be monitored because it can pulse up, they can pulse down. So for the most part, I'm thinking marginal to slight with a daily possibility of enhanced, just depending on how things kind of set up for that day. Now, this day going in towards Sunday, this one looks pretty decent, pretty impressive here going into Sunday. So going into this weekend, we'll have to watch that one. That one may give us an enhanced area, but a little bit stronger than just a slight risk as that moves on off. Then as we go beyond the 7 day, again, we're going to watch that next little disturbance. Remember, we got that other low that kind of swings on out here. So going out toward the 26th and 27th, we'll have to watch here again as well. So the way it's looking like we got maybe, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 different days up to the end of the month where we may see a day of severe weather, a pocket of severe weather, which is not unusual. That's what you typically see. And toward the 27th here, we kind of get into the mid-south with some severe weather potential there as well as the days continue to warm up. And this will finally swing into the southeast as we go toward the 29th. All right, let's talk about the precipitation chances. One thing you're going to see for the short term, not a whole lot. Next 72 hours, we'll take us out to 72 hours here first. We're not going to see a whole lot of heavy rain. Looks like the heaviest rains here maybe across Missouri, out here in the west, a little bit here across northeast. Not looking bad. Now, as we go out to day 7, that changes a little bit. So take it out to 180. You see that next storm system comes out. We get some pretty good rains here across the high plains and down toward Oklahoma and Missouri. And then beyond that, the 7 to 14, it really picks up quite a bit. A little more active weather pattern here. Look at this. Boom. We really light it up like a Christmas tree here. As you can see, the very high rainfall amounts there across the middle of the country. In fact, let's go ahead and highlight some of that. We'll go to the central portion there. And you're seeing cumulative rainfall here over that last week, basically 5-6 inches of rain. So we could be seeing some flooding potential. Remember, the hazard outlook was kind of hinting at that on the end of that 7 day going out for that period. Now let's go ahead and talk about the snow. We still have snows to deal with. Again, we're going to have a little bit here across the northeast here over the next day or so, not amounting to much. But check out these rates out here in the west. Pretty impressive. Not bad for April standards, that's for sure. And really not looking bad. Let's look at the region here. I'm going to go out toward the west. Let's go look at the west out here, and we'll look at those snow totals out here toward the west. So, I mean, showing up here, I see there's a 35-inch there. There's a 16-inch there. So higher elevations, well over a foot of snow. Colorado Rockies looking pretty good. So Wyoming into portions of Montana, Idaho, and definitely Colorado, bullseye for some snow over the next couple of weeks. Let's talk about the temperatures. We'll look at the 850 millibar anomaly map. It's better to kind of track these at 5,000 feet so you can see where the cold shots are. Just getting a little bit harder and during the day to look at the temperature anomaly down at the surface because, you know, rain anomalies can kind of throw it off a little bit. But you definitely see the cold shot coming in here for today, right now. All right. So watch this as we go through the next day or so. We've got that big high pressure system here settling down here toward the south, and it's, you know, bringing in that cold air across the northeast. But we're going to see a nice warm up across the southeast. In fact, as we go to this weekend, check out as we go into this weekend, we warm things up quite a bit. This high pressure begins to shift off here toward the south. We got a little bit of a ridge right here, and temperatures here across the south will be running a good 10, maybe 15 degrees above normal. So temperatures will be feeling very summer-like across the south. Now, areas across the Midwest, back toward the west, that's not going to be the case. Exact opposite. They're going to be looking at kind of cool weather here and definitely warm and hot weather here as we go into this upcoming Saturday. We go through the weekend. Again, that stays pretty warm here across the east. We'll have to watch that storm system here, that little low pulling out. Again, you get the clash of a warm and a cold pocket. That's when you get some severe weather. You have to watch that going into the 20th and 21st. But you're still seeing this ridging here across the southeast. That's going to keep them pretty much on the warm side, especially here across the west, the east, and then kind of a cool here in the west. Should put a C there. Let's make that a C. So it'll cool out there in the west. That's going out toward the 22nd and 23rd. Now, again, like I said, in beyond about 7 days, we're kind of extrapolating here. But overall, it looks like we just got these little pockets of cool air interacting with the pockets of warm air. And wherever they bump up and bump heads, that's what you're going to have to watch for your severe potential. Now, the trend here, I would say, on the European is showing it a little bit below normal with the temperature trend across the country. But the Climate Prediction Center is not showing that so much. Let me show you the latest on that for the rest of the month of April. So as we go out here, the 6 to 10 day outlook, the 20th through the 24th, we're pretty mild here in the west, cooler out here in the east, not really changing much beyond that, going 8 to 14, taking us almost to the end of the month here to the 28th. Warmer here in the west and cooler here in the west and warmer here in the east. Now, the model trend we just looked at was kind of hinting that we maybe beat this back a little bit toward the end. So we'll see if we get the 12Z run later today to see if this modifies a little bit as we head toward a little bit later in the month. We got to look for that model consistency there. Now, the precipitation wide, that's looking pretty active. We clearly showed that, especially from day 7 on offer. We got a bullseye here. Again, we got to watch for that severe weather potential here going out from the 20th to the 24th. And it's still sitting there at the 22nd to the 28th. Remember, we were showing those rainfall totals up there of 6 inches plus, and that's typically underdone when it comes to convection. It's one thing we've seen a lot so far this spring is that the models have been underestimating the rainfall totals. So we got to watch that closely for flooding potential here in the middle of the country. West Coast looks like they stay on the dry side as we head to deeper into the month. So it looks like we're in store for, I would say, a fairly active weather pattern. That's for sure. A typical spring pattern, I would call it, with potential for thunderstorms and pockets of severe weather every day. The good news is I don't see a particular strong storm system out there that's going to be a major outbreak. Not to say we're not going to see tornadoes, not to say we're not going to see severe thunderstorms. It is, of course, April. We're going to see that. But I'm not seeing a major significant outbreak out there. So, again, if you see some guys out there on YouTube that are hyping a storm to death, that's their right, but no, I do not see that. The best thing I can tell you for this time of year is just make sure that you stay prepared. One of the things I highly recommend is to get one of these weather radios. Good thing to have programmed. Make sure you get your app on your phone. Just be ready out every day and pay attention to the updates that myself, the National Weather Service, give you to keep you weather aware and informed when you may see some severe weather in your neighborhoods. So again, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, personal invitation, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And that way you can get, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're alerted when I do these daily updates for you. All right, that's your update for today. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.